Here's what nobody is telling you, and it's costing you money every single month. The government gave you a raise this year, a 2.8% cost of living adjustment. That's roughly $56 more a month in your Social Security check starting in 2026. Sounds decent, right? But before you get excited, let me show you what they did with the other hand. Medicare. Part B premiums just jumped nearly 10% from $185 a month all the way up to $229. That's $17.90 a month gone before you even see a dime of your raise. And for millions of Americans with lower benefits, the math is brutal. Your effective COLA is essentially zero. Gone. Eaten alive by healthcare costs. And here's the number that's catching everyone off guard. Some beneficiaries are seeing Medicare-related adjustments pushing their gross benefit figures above $2,434 a month. But what actually lands in their bank account tells a completely different story. The maximum Social Security benefit in 2026 can reach up to $4,733 for those who work the system right and delayed claiming. But most folks, they never planned for this. They trusted the government to take care of them. And now they're sitting at the kitchen table wondering why their check doesn't stretch like it used to. I've been doing this for 30 years, and I'm telling you, the numbers are not what Washington wants you to focus on. You need to understand the full picture of what's happening to your money in March and beyond, because nobody is going to protect your retirement except you. Let me walk you through exactly what is happening step by step so you can stop guessing and start knowing. I want you to picture something for a second. You worked for 40 years. Maybe you were a teacher. Maybe you drove a truck. Maybe you ran a small business out of your garage. You paid into Social Security every single paycheck. You never missed. You never complained. You trusted the system. And now you're retired, living on a fixed income. And every single January, you sit by the mailbox or you check your bank app, waiting to see if that cost of living adjustment actually made a real difference in your life. And every single year, the answer is the same. Not really. Well, I need to talk to you today about March 2026 because something significant has shifted. And if you don't understand what changed and why, you are going to make decisions about your money that could hurt you for the rest of your retirement. That is not dramatic. That is just the truth. So let's start with the COLA, because that is the number that gets all the headlines. For 2026, Social Security recipients received a 2.8% cost of living adjustment. Now, the Social Security Administration calculates that number based on the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, and that's the CPIW. And they compare the third quarter of the previous year to determine how much prices went up. And then they adjust your benefit accordingly. Sounds fair? Sounds reasonable? And on paper, it almost is. But here is where I want you to slow down and really listen to me, because the headline number is almost never the real number that matters to your life. The average Social Security benefit for a retired worker in 2026 is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,976 a month after a 2.8% COLA. That's about $54 more per month than what you were getting in 2025. Now, $54 sounds like something. It's not nothing. But before that money ever reaches your account, Medicare Part B premiums are automatically deducted. And here is exactly where the story changes. Medicare Part B premiums for 2026 jumped to $229 per month. And that is up from $185 in 2025. That is a $17.90 per month increase. So you gained roughly $54 from COLA, and you immediately lost $17.90 to Medicare. Your real effective raise is sitting somewhere around $36 a month. That is barely a tank of gas. That is not keeping up with what you are actually paying at the grocery store, at the pharmacy, at the doctor's office. I am not making this up to scare you. These are the actual numbers, and I want you to be able to look them in the face without flinching. Now let me talk about the $2,434 figure, because that is a number that has been circulating and confusing a lot of people, And I want to cut through the noise right now. The number that many people are referencing when they talk about $2,434 relates to Social Security disability insurance payments and specific beneficiary categories where Medicare premium adjustments and benefit calculations combine to produce that figure. For some recipients, particularly those who have high enough benefits, that Medicare premium deductions and cost-sharing calculations put their gross benefit in that range. That number is very real. But what catches everyone off guard is not that the number exists. It is that the amount hitting your bank account after all the deductions, all the Medicare costs, all the tax withholding if applicable, is significantly lower. And nobody explains that to you. The government sends you a letter in November called the Social Security Benefit Verification Letter. And most people look at the gross number, feel good about it, and then wonder why their checking account tells a completely different story in March. That disconnect is exactly what I want to fix for you today. Let me tell you about something called Irma. Because if you have any kind of additional income in retirement, a pension, some investment income, a part-time job, required minimum distributions from your IRA or 401k, this could be hitting you, and you might not even fully understand why your Medicare costs are higher than your neighbors. IRMA stands for Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, and it is essentially a Medicare surcharge that the government applies to higher-income retirees. If your modified adjusted gross income from 2 years ago was above $106,000 for a single filer or $212,000 for a couple filing jointly, you are paying more for Medicare Part B and Part D than the standard premium. The surcharge can add hundreds of dollars per month on top of the standard $229. And here is what gets people every single time. They had a one-time income event 2 years ago. Maybe they sold a rental property. Maybe they did a Roth conversion. Maybe they had a large RMD in a particular year. And now 2 years later, they are getting hit with IRMA surcharges based on that one-time income spike. The good news is, you can appeal IRMA if your income has since dropped. You fill out Form SSA 44. You document the life-changing event, and you submit it to your local Social Security office. Most people don't know that. Most people just accept the higher premium and keep paying it. Don't do that. Now, I want to talk about something that is deeply important and that connects to why March specifically matters. Social Security pays benefits in arrears, and the payment schedule for March 2026 follows the birthday-based system that has been in place since the 1990s. If your birthday falls between the 1st and the 10th of any month, you receive your payment on the 2nd Wednesday of the month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, you receive it on the 3rd Wednesday. And if your birthday falls between the 21st and the 31st, your payment arrives on the 4th Wednesday. Now, for March 2026, that means payments are being distributed across 3 different Wednesdays. And the updated benefit amounts reflecting the 2026 COLA should already be incorporated into these payments. If you are receiving an amount that does not look right, if the number in your account doesn't match what you expected based on your benefit verification letter, do not assume it will fix itself. Call the Social Security Administration, go to your local office, log into your My Social Security account, and check your payment history. You are your own best advocate, and in my experience, nobody is going to chase down an overpayment or underpayment on your behalf if you don't make noise about it. Here is something else I want to address because I hear this question constantly from people in their 60s and early 70s. Was it the right decision to claim Social Security when I did? And I want to be both honest and compassionate here because for a lot of people, this has already been decided. But understanding the math of when you claim helps you make smarter decisions about everything else in your financial life going forward. If you claimed at 62, your benefit was permanently reduced, roughly 25 to 30% lower than your full retirement age benefit, depending on when you were born. If you waited until 70, your benefit is 24 to 32% higher than your full retirement age benefit because of delayed retirement credits that accrue at 8% per year between full retirement age and 70. Now, here's the real-world impact of that. On a benefit of $2,000 a month at full retirement age, claiming at 62 might give you $1,400. Waiting until 70 might give you $2,640. The break-even point, the age at which waiting until 70 actually pays off more in total cumulative benefits, is typically around 80 to 82 years old. If you are healthy and your family has longevity, waiting is almost always the mathematically superior choice. But I also know that not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone can make it to 70 without touching Social Security. And that is okay. What matters now is that you understand the framework so you can plan everything else around it intelligently. Let me talk about taxes for a minute because this surprises so many retirees who assumed Social Security was tax-free. Up to 85% of your Social Security benefits can be subject to federal income tax depending on your combined income. Combined income is calculated as your adjusted gross income plus any non-taxable interest plus half of your Social Security benefits. If that total exceeds $25,000 for a single filer or $32,000 for a married couple, a portion of your benefits becomes taxable. And at higher income levels, up to 85 cents of every dollar in Social Security benefits can be counted as taxable income. This is not a new rule. It has been around since 1983 and expanded in 1993, but it keeps catching people off guard because they did not plan for it when they were building their retirement income strategy. If you have significant traditional IRA or 401k balances that are forcing large required minimum distributions, those RMDs can push your combined income up and trigger taxes on a higher percentage of your Social Security. This is one of the reasons why doing strategic Roth conversions in your early retirement years before RMDs kick in at age 73 can be such a powerful planning tool. You pay taxes now on the conversion, but you reduce future RMDs, keep your combined income lower, and potentially protect more of your Social Security from taxation long term. And while we are talking about the bigger picture, I want to address something that I know is sitting in the back of your mind because people ask me about it all the time. What about the long-term solvency of Social Security? Is it going to be there for me 10, 15, 20 years from now? Here's the honest answer. The Social Security trust funds, there are actually two, the Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund and the Disability Insurance Trust Fund, have been running down their reserves. The most recent trustees report projects that if Congress does absolutely nothing, the combined trust fund reserves could be depleted around 2033 or 2034. Now, here is the critical word that gets lost in all the panic. Depleted does not mean zero. Even if the trust fund reserves hit zero, incoming payroll taxes would still be sufficient to pay approximately 77 to 80% of scheduled benefits. So, a cut, yes, potentially if Congress refuses to act, and elimination, no. And the political reality is that Social Security touches the lives of over 70 million Americans. No politician of either party is going to run on gutting it entirely. There will be reforms, maybe benefit adjustments for higher earners, maybe a change to the retirement age for younger workers, maybe adjustments to the payroll tax cap. But for people who are already retired or close to it, the likelihood of dramatic cuts is much lower than the headlines suggest. That doesn't mean you ignore it. It means you plan with realistic assumptions rather than panic-driven assumptions. What I ultimately want you to take away from everything I am sharing with you today is this. Your retirement is a system, not just a check. Social Security is one piece of it. Medicare is another piece. Your savings, your investments, your pension if you have one, your housing situation, your healthcare costs, all of it connects. All of it interacts, and all of it needs to be understood and managed with intention. The people who struggle in retirement are almost never the ones who had the most money. They are the ones who never had a plan. They took Social Security when it was convenient rather than when it was optimal. They never thought about the tax implications of their withdrawals. They never reviewed their Medicare coverage to make sure it matched their actual healthcare needs. They just let it happen to them. And I don't want that for you. You work too hard. You sacrifice too much. And you deserve a retirement that actually feels like the reward it was supposed to be. The information is available, the tools are there, and starting right now, today, with what you just learned, you are already ahead of most.
Yeah, grind mode on, can't kill my drive. Turn the pressure up, I come alive. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. Wake up with a vision, I'm locked on the target. Turn pain into fuel, I'ma flame, I spark it. No shortcuts here, I embrace every test. Pressure on my shoulders, still I handle it best. I was made for the climb, every loss, every scar. Built me in the steel, now I shine like a star. If the road gets rough, I just double my speed. Ambition on 10, I was born to lead. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. They said limits exist, but I shattered the frame. Every wall in my path is just fuel for the frame. Discipline heavy, but my spirit is free. I don't chase success, success chases me. I'm the storm and the calm, I'm the rise, I'm the proof. Every bar that I drop is the grind in the booth. Blood, sweat, tears, that's the code I trust. I don't wait for the crown, I earn it, I'm rust.